Welcome to Worship Leader Hangout. My name's Chad, if you don't know me. It's so good to have you here. We're hanging out in my office, and today I want to bring you guys a communication tool that I believe is probably one of the best right now as far as like you communicating with your team. Before we get into that and what that tool is and how to use it and all that stuff, I want to thank all of our new subscribers and just welcome you here. It's so good to have you here to this community. My name's Chad, the other guy on the channel that does all the keys tutorials and stuff. Go check him out. His name is David. We're just glad you're here and we're glad you decided to be a part of this. But today's subject will probably be a little bit boring if I didn't kind of bring it as a story. So back in November of 2018, I was waking up on Sunday morning right after Thanksgiving, and man, you know those Sundays, those very rare Sundays that you get to wake up kind of whenever you want? Get a call and I'm just thinking, oh goodness, what's going on now? Because I'm not kidding you, every year except for one for the past 5 years, we have had an issue with the projector. And it's not even been the same projector. We've had a projector issue on that Sunday morning that I was in Florida hanging out with family for Thanksgiving, and somehow we're gonna have to cast that demon out of that projector. Anyway, we'll deal with that later, right? So he gives me a call. I'm like, hey, what's up, Chris? What's going on, man? You doing all right? And he said, yeah, kind of got an issue with the projector. And I'm like, oh gosh, here it is again. I'm kind of walking through like the troubleshooting with him, and he's like, yeah, I've tried that, because you know we've been through this before, and we had even a little bit of a list, like, you know, things to check, things to turn on, things, you know. It just gets to a point where I'm like, guys, I've got to go into church with my family. You know, we're here. We just pulled in. I was still on the phone. We just pulled into the church, and I was like, I got to get in here and worship without y'all for a second. And I mean, there's nothing I can do, and because I wasn't there, I was 8 hours away. They just had to kind of figure it out without a screen that Sunday. You know, I felt terrible because, you know, we never go without a screen, but it's just, it was what it was. So I was thinking during church, probably shouldn't have been, but I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like, what, there's got to be a way that I can have like a video format, not on YouTube, not like this, but just a video format of like troubleshooting and me going through some of these issues and talking about like how we can fix certain things, or you know, and then it clicked. I was like, you know what? I can make a Facebook group. And I want to give a shout out to Dave. I believe it's Dave Erickson on Practical Worship. He talked about this being like one of his #1 communication tools that he uses with his worship team. And you know, he'll go live, or he'll post like all kinds of things happening with the team, some updates and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, that's a good idea. You know, next, I didn't even give it much thought. I just thought, hey, that's a great idea. But when we had this issue with the projector, I got on my phone after church and I made a Facebook group for our worship team. Made it private. That's one thing I would suggest. Make that private and only invite your team and maybe your pastor, just kind of keep everybody up to date on what's going on. And I made the team, I put a new message on there. I was like, hey, this is our worship team Facebook group. This is not public or anything. This is for us to be able to communicate ideas, communicate things going on, maybe even do online meetings like this without having to show up to the church on a cold, wintry night or whatever. Anyway, so I was all excited about it, and I'm still excited about it, if you can't tell. I got to church. Now let me finish this story, because I know some of you are thinking like, what was it? What was the issue with the projector? Like, I want to know. So, I mean, you know, you would think it was this crazy, massive issue, because I mean, we tried everything, right? So that's what I'm thinking going in. But I was like, you know, I'm gonna go on Facebook Live on this group, so that way only them can see it, and you know, the ones that couldn't be there with me live, they can watch it later, whenever at their convenience, which is so nice. It don't matter how long it takes. I'm gonna diagnose this issue. I'm gonna figure out what's going on, and I want them to be involved with that. I thought that was just, you know, a good idea for them to see my process and my thought process of what I am trying to get the screen to come back, because all they were seeing was like a blue screen of death. Turned it on live and I was like, what's up, guys? This is the first live that we're gonna make. I'm gonna figure out this projector issue. I'm here in the auditorium. And so I just kind of start going through my little checklist of things, and I was like, I turned on the projector, it came on, it said HDMI 1, and I'm like, I bet you that screen goes completely blue once it comes to a point like maybe a minute or two later when there's nothing plugged into the projector. Once it times out, it probably just goes solid blue. So they were probably all freaking out and not realizing like it could possibly be an input issue. So I was like, okay, HDMI 1, and I was like, isn't everything supposed to be on HDMI 2? So I click over to HDMI 2, bam, right there. Background of the computer, of that screen pops up, and I'm like, there it is. It was just an input issue. They could have fixed that in like 3 seconds had they known everything was supposed to be on HDMI 2 instead of HDMI 1. That's like the first issue you check with your TV when it's not working. Is it on the right input, right? So you know what? Instead of blaming anybody, I label the remote. I was like, you know what? It's my fault. I didn't label things properly. I didn't, put that a part of the checklist to make sure it's on HDMI 2 or the right, input. What was great about this is that everybody on the team was able to watch this. So if this ever comes up in the future, hey, remember back in November? Remember how it was just like an input issue? Boom. Now everybody's involved with all those little details of what's going on. Not that they have to be or need to be, but it just makes it, one inclusive team instead of, everybody kind of trying to think on their own and figure things out on their own. So it's just a great tool for that. And then also just weekly meetings, just catching up with your team. Hey, I just want to let you guys know what's going on. Maybe there's some changes with your worship set. Maybe there's some new songs you're adding. You want to discuss those, discuss the form, discuss the new arrangement you want to make of those things. There's so many things we could talk about on the Facebook group that we can't do in just an email from Planning Center. And yeah, a lot of you may have thought I was going to talk about Planning Center. I love Planning Center. We use Planning Center every single week for every single service, pretty much everything we do. Our whole church management software is based on Planning Center. And so trust me, that's a great tool. But it doesn't have that connectivity feature that Facebook has. And most of your people are going to be on Facebook anyway. They're already going to be checking and scrolling through to look at other stuff, and might as well, have your stuff pop up right there for the team, for them to watch at their convenience. And it just makes things easier. So yeah, so I believe the best tool right now, we'll just say right now, because you could easily use Instagram, but I believe the best tool right now is a private Facebook group just for your worship team and maybe your people and whoever else you feel like needs to be a part of that. And make it a big deal. If you start one, make it a big deal. Be excited about it. Go on there, go live, and be like, "What's up?" And just let them know this is how you're going to be communicating. And I think it'll be a lot more fun. And then also just some meetings, like in-person meetings, just don't need to happen in person. People can ask questions and be involved on Facebook Live wherever they are. I'm done. That's my tool. That's what I suggest. For you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Got a behind the scenes with Lark. Got some piano tutorials coming up as well, and some other things coming up, in months in the future. So really excited. If you haven't already, subscribe. Go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us on there. And we'll see you in the next video. Remember, great worship leaders are always learning. Have a great day, guys.